Predator Badlands is the newest installment in the Predator series directed by Dan Trachtenberg. A young Predator, outcast from his clan, finds an unlikely ally on his journey in search of the ultimate adversary. I am a huge fan of the original Predator. Not only is it one of the greatest action films of all time, but the original Predator is one of the first films that I remember vividly watching with my dad all the time on cable TV. We've always had a good time watching this alien stalk Arnold Schwarzenegger through the jungle and hunt down all of his men until he is the last one standing. But the franchise since then has been on a rocky road. Predator 2 was alright, Predators was but The Predator was awful, and the AVP movies have been very disappointing. But as of late, Dan Trachtenberg brought this franchise back to its former glory with Prey, Killer of Killers, and now Badlands. And I can confidently say this is my fourth favorite Predator film. I don't think it is as good as the original. Obviously, the original is still the best in my opinion, but I don't think it is also as good as Killer of Killers or Prey. Prey was such a breath of fresh air that I did not appreciate more at the time that I've grown to appreciate more now, and Killer of Killers was such a unique and fantastic idea, and it was executed beautifully. Badlands is a good movie. A good movie in the Predator series that has a lot of great action, has a lot of great alien violence because it is PG-13, but it works pretty well and doesn't neuter itself too much, thankfully. The characters are good and go through a character arc, and I really enjoyed watching this Predator go through the jungle of this alien world, looking at all these different plant life, all these different species that he has to go up against, using whatever resources he has. But the idea of us watching everything through the Predator's eyes was what hooked me for this film. Because watching the Predator be the main character of his movie, again, changes up the formula a bit. Instead of an anthology or going back completely through a different time, but going through the same motions of a Predator film, we are looking at everything through the Predator's perspective and understanding his character journey and how he is basically the runt of this clan and he feels the need to prove himself. And we see that explored very well in the beginning of the film, where we explore how he lives and what his relationship with some of his family is like, and we get to see how Predators act and treat each other here for a brief few moments, and understand what their culture is and how they show respect or disdain for one another. Then the rest of the film happens and he goes on this hunt, and it is a lot of fun. But what really could have derailed this film was the inclusion of something from the Alien franchise known as synthetics, and this corporation that is going after this Predator and what he's hunting. And these two characters together form an unlikely kinship with one another and respect for one another. And Elle Fanning is a character that is meant to annoy you as an audience. A lot of what she says is information that is not really all that helpful until something is helpful that gets brought back later in the film. And she's more so there to guide Derek on this journey that he's going through to understand how this world works, and he's basically just seeing her as a tool and nothing more than that. And a cute little alien follows him along the way. Honestly, I would have cut that alien out. He just feels very out of place and too Disney-like, but it's not like something egregiously awful, and it at least serves a purpose to the story. But the bad guys themselves, honestly, it's kind of what you would expect from a story like this. And while Well, their connection with this synthetic girl is interesting. As characters themselves, again, not the most interesting kinds of villains. Their characters are kind of one note, what we could expect. They serve their purpose of the story and create a lot of tension, and overall it makes for a fun final act in the end of the film. But as characters themselves, they aren't the most interesting villains in the world. But speaking of the action in this film is really cool. As I said before, we are in a completely alien world. Sure, the synthetics seem human, but they're still not humans. So really, there are no humans at all to be seen in this film. Everything is completely alien or futuristic, and it is very fun to watch, to see how all these creatures and robots try to fight one another, how they hunt one another, how this predator is trying to fight off against this entire world just to get this big prey in order to be able to prove himself. It is all really fun to watch. If I were to have any problems more than just the characters and bad guys being a bit one note, is the fact that I said before, it can be a bit too cutesy at times and too watered down in terms of its dialogue, mainly due to Elle Fanning's character and this animal that travels with Derek. I still, for the most part, thought the dialogue between them is still decent enough, but there are some times where it just feels too out of place for me and kind of kills the tone a bit for a scene. And I would have loved to explore more of the Predator's culture here, understand what their clan and how they hunt is like, how they respect one another more, instead of just focusing on this family, this small-knit type family that we focus throughout the beginning and the end of the film. I would have loved to have seen more Predators here and understand a lot more of their culture. But other than that, I thought Predator Badlands was a good enough Predator film. Is it my favorite of the franchise? No. But it is a lot of fun, has some really fun action sequences. The idea and premise is interesting enough for you to be engaged throughout the film. The action is still pretty hard hitting and bloody at times, just a lot of alien blood. But overall, I thought this was just good enough. I don't know if I'll watch it again in the future, but all in all, I still had a good time with Predator Badlands, and I'm going to give it a B. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.